This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, thank you for joining today's webinar. Today's webinar is called Eat This, Not That, Superfood Edition. So we're going to explore all things superfood, what they are, do they really exist, what you can do to add them into your daily life, things like that. So let's get started. Okay, do superfoods exist? This is a serious question because now, day and age, we have so many fad diets and marketing tricks and, everything out there that we don't know what to believe anymore. And so I'm here to kind of clear the air about superfoods and if they're really there. Now, there is no standard criteria or approved list of superfoods, meaning you can't go online and say, what does the FDA describe or list as superfood? It doesn't exist. But here's what we call superfoods. We say that they are generally good for your heart and your overall health because most superfoods will have more than one nice nutrient factor to add. So if you have, let's say, orange juice and it just has vitamin C in it, or you could have, pumpkin that has multiple things in it, like high fiber, low in vitamin, or high in vitamin A, all these different things, then it adds in extra factors into your nutrition. And so that's what we call a superfood. Generally, too, they promote weight loss. Not necessarily saying that if you eat this, you'll lose weight, but instead, if you really focus on the healthy things you can get into your body, you're going to eat less of the bad things. And here's an example of that. I'm sure you've all heard of the fad diet or big hot topic of carbs. So everyone always says you need to cut back on carbs. Carbs are terrible for you. Well, the truth being, carbs are actually a source of energy for your brain and your body. But what happens is when people cut back on carbs, they generally cut back on calories too. Let's say you go into Chipotle and instead of getting the wrap, because that has carbs in it, you just get the bowl. Well, you just knocked off, well over 100 calories that were in the wrap, right? So those people are mainly losing weight because they're cutting out calories too. Same with superfoods is that the more superfoods you get in, the less bad food you're going to get in. So it does promote weight loss. It also encourages a healthier lifestyle. I think we can all agree that if you were to wake up and have a healthy breakfast, that you're more likely going to pick healthier things throughout the day, and you just generally feel better. So it always encourages you to move more, and we all know that we do get a little lethargic when we eat, a big tub of ice cream, right? So if you are having something healthy that is a superfood, you're more likely to get out and move. So is it really a superfood? Well, like I said before, superfoods are packed with nutrients, but I tell everybody to keep it realistic, meaning don't go into your pantry and throw away everything that is not a superfood or doesn't have multiple nutrient factors. That is very extreme, and you'll probably walk in the next day thinking, I have no food. So instead, I suggest that try not to have too much of the bad stuff in your house and just keep it realistic in adding in superfoods. And then also the old saying, too much of a good thing is still not good, right? So if you do eat or overeat on any food, you are getting too much, right? A good example of this is almonds. Now, almonds are delicious, and they are extremely easy to overeat on. They do have the good fat source in them, but they're still high in calories. So it's something that you don't want to overeat, but you still get quite a bit of nutrients from it. Another way you can keep it realistic is look at your side salad, and instead of putting croutons on it that is just carbs, no nutrients, you could put almonds on it, which would add in extra nutrients with ease. So that's another way you can keep it realistic. And then generally, there are a lot of superfoods that claim to reduce the risk of certain diseases. And a good example of this is there's a whole list of foods out there that are actually known to be anti-inflammatory. And the reason why that could be good is, let's say you have extreme arthritis and your joints are always inflamed, but then you're eating some foods that kind of counteract that, you're going to feel better. You're going to move better. You're going to be in less pain. So there are foods out there that really do reduce the risk of certain diseases and help with current conditions. Okay, I cannot express this enough, but use your resources. I am totally late to the game, but I've just discovered how amazing the library is, and it's free, which I can still not wrap my head around. A good example is, so the Colleyville Library right here, they have awesome wellness books and cookbooks and recipe books. I actually just checked out a smoothie recipe book from there, and at the bottom of each recipe, the author adds in ways you can boost your smoothie, which means it's all a list of ways you can put in a superfood to make that smoothie even healthier, which I love, because sometimes you may think, oh, well, I need to add a superfood or I need to make this more nutrients-packed, but you don't know what to add into that or what would taste good with those products. So this recipe book, it already lays it out there for you and what you need to have, which is awesome. CookingLight.com is another great resource for healthy recipes. I go there all the time, and they're generally pretty healthy with their guidelines, and so you're going to find something healthier there than especially going into the store or restaurant. Then you also have farmers markets, and those are great places to not only get fresh produce and support farmers, but then also you can get additional ideas on different ways to be healthy and different ways to cook vegetables. The farmers, they love to talk, so any chance you get, you can always go up there and you can say, hey, what's another way I can cook this? Or what's your favorite way to cook this vegetable? And so you can get cool ideas from them. And I know Colleyville is about to get a farmer's market, so that's exciting. So let's look at some superfoods and talk about what makes them super. So the first picture we have here is salmon. Now, salmon is a fatty fish that's low in saturated fat and high in omega-3 fatty acids. And as you may know, omega-3 fatty acids can actually decrease the risk of abnormal heartbeats and reduce triglycerides, which are the fats in most foods, or chemical form of the fats in most foods in our body. So it can reduce that. It can also slow the growth of plaque in our arteries. So the American Heart Association definitely loves to recommend salmon for that reason, and they recommend that you eat at least 3.5 ounces of serving of fish per week. So there's still a scale of better fish than others, meaning some are more saturated or have more nutrients, but salmon is definitely one that is awesome. So the next picture I have here is turkey, and you're probably thinking, what is she doing? Turkey is not necessarily the best, but turkey is actually a good source of lean protein, and it can be a great substitute for beef. So if you're making chili, you can actually add in ground turkey instead of ground beef, and then you cut out a ton of those trans fats and everything that's found in red meat. So it's a great substitute, and there's a lot of different ways you can cook it. So that's one of the reasons why I put it on here. Then we have a picture of some nuts, legumes, and seeds. Now, these are all a good source of protein and polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats. So since it does have fat and usually a higher calorie count, it still needs to be eaten in moderation. But the American Heart Association still recommends you eat the American Heart Association still recommends that you eat 4 servings per week. Then we have berries, Now, berries are high levels of phytochemicals, and which actually can reduce the risk in heart attacks, especially for women. So this is recommended that you get 9 servings of fruits and veggies a day, which is about 4.5 cups. So I know 9 sounds crazy, but it's not as much as it seems. Then I have a picture of kale. We all know kale is definitely a very popular thing. But why it's popular is because it provides vitamin A and C, potassium, and phytochemicals. So a lot of nutrients packed in kale. And then last but not least, I had to put dark chocolate on here because I love dark chocolate. And it is high in flavonoids, and then it also has antioxidants, which is awesome, but it does have fat and calories too, so you still need to limit how much you have. So let's talk about ways you can actually supersize your everyday foods. Now, if you have coffee, so a lot of people don't know, but soy is actually also really good. It's high in polyunsaturated fat, fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and then low in saturated fats. So it is a great thing to add in. Now, anytime I go to Starbucks and I get a cold or iced coffee, I have them add in soy. I don't even notice it's there. I mean, I kind of add it as a creamer, and I know I'm getting nutrients from it, which is awesome. Smoothies, I mentioned earlier about the recipe book, but smoothies are such an easy way to just add in nutrients. All you have to do is just throw it in there, and most of the time you don't taste it. And a tip on that too is if you're having flax seeds and you don't like the way the seeds are getting stuck in your teeth, you can always do something like ground flax seeds, and then you probably won't taste it at all. Energy bites, I'm going to send you the recipe to this. This is actually a really fun snack that you can have. It's easy to make at home, and you can put in things that you actually like and things that you want as a superfood. So I usually like to put in, I do like dark chocolate, I put that in there. But then I also put things like walnuts and pumpkin seeds and chia seeds, all kinds of stuff like that that is healthy for me, and it's so good. It's like a little treat. Salads or wraps. This is another easy way to add in healthy food that you may not notice as much. Especially in a wrap, you can throw in that kale, and if it's surrounded by other things, you definitely won't notice. But some people really like the taste of kale, so that makes it easy. Vitamins are another way. I always like to bring this up just because, everybody should be taking that daily vitamin, but vitamins are a good way to get in a healthy source. So you can check with your doctor and find out what you need to be taking daily, or if they have a suggestion on brands. I always say just check the reviews and check to make sure they were approved by the FDA, just to make sure you're getting what the bottle says you're getting. And then granola is another easy way if you love yogurt, because yogurt is another great way to get calcium, vitamin E, and protein. You can just add in granola, and then you've made a superfood, right? So you can put in almonds or the pumpkin seeds or something like that on top, and then you've really upped your snack there. And then cooking in oil. So we do need good fats in our diet. So something like olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, all of those are the healthier oils, so just try to stay away from vegetable oil. So I would encourage you that next time you're in the grocery store that you add in the healthy things into your basket, and hopefully that also makes it onto your plate at home. So please let me know if you have any questions or comments. You can email me. And then I also want to send you some recipes I have that you may love. And if you need an idea of what those books are that I checked out of the library, I can also share that with you too. So thank you for joining, and I hope everyone has a great rest of the week. Thanks.